What's going on, everybody, and welcome back to Comic Breakdown. In this video, we are jumping into Jean Grey, issue number 3. And there's a bunch of other X-Men stuff that was also released today. You can make sure to check out the channel over the course of the next couple of days. We're going to be making sure that we get all of the Fall of X stuff out. But when it comes to Jean Grey, we are going back to one of the biggest events in Marvel history. Nearly 35 years later, Simonson is returning us to the events of Inferno. Jean Grey versus Madeline Pryor, reshaping the world of X-Men and set bombs off that are still going off to this day. Jean Grey is now going to examine this event in its entirety, trying to see if this is where everything went wrong. So, make sure you guys have subscribed to the channel, make sure that you like this video, and with that being said, let's dive into this breakdown. Alright gang, so we are diving into this with Jean Grey and Madeline Pryor. Running into Pryor, she says that every time she deals with her, things go to hell. But Jean also doesn't understand what is going on right now. One minute she is here, the next minute she finds herself in a desert. She finds chains around her neck. She quickly recognizes that these chains are not hers, but Madeline's. Madeline's memories shackling Jean Grey for a change. But this is also when she hears the voice of hope, of Exodus. As she reads Jean's mind, this is where she learns of the White Hot Room. And we saw this with Hope and Exodus. They learned where they were exiled to, though Hope doesn't fully understand this yet, and neither does Jean. Neither of them fully understand what is going on here. But Madeline says that there is no playing fair, that she would never forget what had been stolen from her, that Madeline could never forgive the disaster that is known as Inferno. And so Madeline goes down memory lane, talking about Sinister, determined to have a child that was Scott and Jean Grey, that was of their lineage. That is where he force grew Madeline Pryor. Awakened by the Phoenix Force, she emerged an empty vessel, eventually marrying Scott, producing Nathaniel Christopher. And she feels that Scott abandoned her after finding out that Jean Grey was still alive. Though Jean would say that Scott left her and went looking for Madeline. But they were all told that she was dead. And in her helplessness, Madeline went seeking power. She consorted, made friends with demons and everything in between. They planned their demon invasion, and Jean tries to defend herself. Because Jean and Scott were told that she was dead. Even though Scott kept looking, he eventually found Christopher, cryogenically frozen, and that is when Nanny had attacked them. They took the fight outside while demons had slipped in. They stole the child. Scott and her, distracted by the battle, they missed the demons and what they carried. This is where she wonders, what if? What if the baby had cried out? What if she had heard its psychic scream? This is where things change. Telling Scott to focus on the demon that has Christopher. Scott shoots it out of the sky, and Jean is able to catch the baby before it falls, cradling the baby in her arms. Madeline goes on to say that that necessarily won't work, that removing him from the continuity, believing that she gets a do-over, that her maternal instincts will kick in. But at this point, Madeline wants power regardless. Her rage will not be stayed. But she tells Jean Grey to go ahead and see how all this plays out. See how all of this ends. This is where we have Madeline killing the demon that failed to bring her the child. And then we have the arrival of Sinister. Sinister says that he has taken measure of Madeline and he has found her wanting. With the snap of his fingers, she is in chains. This is where Madeline Pryor learns that she is in fact a clone. With all of the demons seeing this play out, not expecting to see such weakness from the Goblin Queen. This is where the demons interfere, stopping this before it goes too far, before her will is altered. And so the demons grab hold of Sinister. We see Madeline Pryor break free. Before the demons can kill him, she says that Sinister is hers. Now understanding what she truly is. Not a mutant, not Jean Grey, but still Phoenix driven. Making a deal with the demons, she now has her own power. And the demons stand before her, saying that they will rule by her side. She wants nobody to rule by her side, she wants to rule alone. And so everybody is absolutely taken off the board. all of the demons wiped out with the flick of her wrist. Sinister taken out as well, burned to the very bones. She has truly become the Goblin Queen, and her rule now begins. As Jean and Scott make their way back into the city, they see that Limbo has come to the surface, but they don't fully understand what is going on. The only thing they know is that they must protect Chris. They get him down to the ship. They prepare to get him on board, but this is when the Goblin Queen makes her appearance. She is demanding that they hand Nathan over. Scott in complete disbelief that Maddie is still alive. They had all the evidence that she had died, but that is because of Sinister, letting them all know that they are about to die. She attacks Scott, burning him down to a crisp in an instant, asking Maddie why. Jean saying that Christopher is innocent, but the way that Maddie sees it, she made him, and she will use him how she chooses. That his death will open a portal from Earth to Limbo, and then she will rule everything. With Jean using her powers to hold back Maddie and get the baby into safety. A port opens up and little Nathan, he is stored inside. With the door slamming shut, now Jean can focus on Maddie. This is when the Phoenix Force begins to talk to Jean Grey. It's said that it brought Madeline to life. It can lead Jean back to life, but she must accept it. Must accept the Phoenix Force, the darkness and the light. But Jean refuses to be used as Madeline was. And so the Phoenix says that this is your choice, and so you will now face your death. Madeline breaking through the defenses of Jean Grey, going to siphon the energy from Jean herself. With Madeline touching the ship, we see it transform, able to control the atoms in the ship itself. We see it ripped into pieces. Now all of it an extension of herself. She causes a tidal wave and the waters begin to flow into the city. This is where she has had enough, breaking free of all of this. She admits that she accepted the Phoenix Force. She sent the powers to others. She rejected the Phoenix power. Every choice meant death and destruction. Now she wonders, what else should I have done? Looking up at the many versions of herself, they tell her that they shouldn't know, but Jean should, because she is the one that created this mess to begin with. And that will be the end of this issue. So let me know what you guys think down in the comments. So the Jean Grey story has been relatively interesting. We have really been traversing through her memories, her greatest defeats and her greatest triumphs, the most important moments in her life, reimagined and rethought, trying to find if there is another path she could have taken, another direction she could have gone that could have avoided the current predicament that Krakoa finds itself in. But the more and more she investigates, the more she tries to think about changing aspects of the past, the more we see she has chose the right path, the best path she could choose based on all the information that she has. That changing these events would have more than likely met with her demise. Of the demise of everyone and everything she cares about. That every decision she has made, while it may not be the most amazing or glamorous decision, while lives might have been lost, the path that she has chosen thus far, it has been the safest path that she could go down. At least in the context of the paths that she chose not to go. Because so far, every one of the paths that she chose not to go down, they would have ultimately led to her demise. With one more issue left, one last thing for her to face. What is left for Jean Grey to face in the future, in the past, in the present, other than herself? So let me know your thoughts, let me know your theories. If you would like to get completely caught up on everything that is going on with this series, go ahead, check out the link in my description as well as the top of this video. It is gonna get you completely caught up on everything that is going on with the Fall of X. If you would like to support the channel, you can always do so by joining the channel membership. Much like Patreon, having multiple different tiers, from $1 to $50. From loyalty badges to comics every single month. Not only are you helping out the channel tremendously, but you are getting tons of perks in the process. If you're unable to do this, do me a favor, subscribe to the channel, like this video, hit that notification bell, and with that being said, until the next breakdown.